सहना भवतु सहनौ भुनक्तु सह वीर्यं करवावहै तेजस्विनावधीतमस्तु मा विद्विषावहै ॐ शान्ति शान्ति We are on the 10th chapter of the book Vedanta Treatise, and we are studying the chapter on self-analysis. To start the chapter, we understand that we have to do an inquiry into ourselves. This inquiry into ourselves should lead us to our original being. Because only when we reach our original being, when we reach the self within, will we attain purity. It is not possible to be pure unless you attain the self. Because what is purity? Purity is when there is nothing else. Purity isn't it? Gold is pure if there's nothing else there. Copper is pure when there's nothing else in it. So what is purity? Purity means the absence of any otherness. Only that thing. Full of only that thing. Nothing else. So when will we be so pure that there is complete oneness? We don't see any difference. We don't perceive any difference. It's just all one when we find our own original nature. There's no other way to do it. The only way. Now, why should we be pure? What is the reason that we should be pure? If you're not pure, wherever we lose purity, what we gain are
desires,
agitations. Yes. Why you are right, Bharat, when you say agitation, desires, but people say, okay, again desires, so big deal. They are not bothered about gaining desires. The problem of our life is the agitation that we face, the sorrow, the suffering, really horrible suffering that comes to us when we lose that purity. So now this becomes a big step. Suppose a woman is crying, okay, because her husband has left her, or a student is miserable because he failed the exam, or a man is under huge stress because he's lost his job. You know, people are suffering. Somebody has some horrible ailment. Tell you this person, he got cancer of the tongue of all the places. And then they had to, they had a massive surgery and they had to remove the entire malignancy, right? Include his teeth and everything. And it was like a long, full day surgery where he had multiple surgeons who had to come and remove multiple things. And they had to do grafting and so many things. And after all that hard work and terrible decision for his wife and family to make, isn't it? I mean, he's a young person. Now just think about that. Now, and when he comes out of that, he just had like a 8-9 hour surgery happening on him. Just imagine. It's all swollen and terrible situation. He won't be agitated. In fact, he is so agitated. He says, why did you do all this to me? you make, what is the point of this? I don't even have teeth. I don't have a tongue. I don't have teeth. I don't have anything now. Why did you even bother to keep me alive? So we don't even know whether he's cured or not, but he doesn't see any point in being cured like this. You can understand, no? What must be the pain this person is going through? What are you going to say to him? That you're suffering because you haven't realized the self? Can you say that? And yet, it is true. It seems hard-hearted, it seems callous. Is this fine now? Can you hear?
Little better. It keeps on coming and going. It's like
not very clear, Janki.
yeah.
Is this making any difference, whatever I'm doing? Or no?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, it's a bit clear, yeah.
This is better.
Is clearer? So I hope you heard what the discussion was about. This. Okay, let's start again. What were the points? The points were, okay, why am I doing this? Come on, you tell me. What was the flow of thought so far? Or have you all got completely involved? What was the... Monica, are you new? I think I'm seeing you for the first time.
Yes, ma'am. I've just joined today.
Oh, okay. Welcome to the class.
I happened to again ask someone and she referred me to this good place. Yeah.
Sorry?
I asked someone for help and she referred me to you, and I'm happy I'm being a part of this today.
Nice. So did you hear what he
Yes.
said? Can you tell
Yes,
me
I
the
did.
flow of thought so far? This class is a bugging class, Monica. I'm warning you from the beginning.
Oh no.
You're actually expected to listen, to know what was said, to follow the
Yes.
line of thought. All this bugging stuff goes on over here. Other
No,
places
it'll-
are much nicer. You can just listen, go home, be happy.
See, I've just connected and heard the story that you were saying, and that's it. I've just
Okay.
connected.
All right. So who can tell us what was the flow of thought so far?
One needs to be pure to realize the self.
No, that wasn't the point. Henry, listen carefully. Did we say you have to be pure to realize the self? What did we say? Okay. What happened? Nobody's listening. Now you'll say we couldn't hear anything. We couldn't hear anything. Nice excuse. Okay, let's start again.
Janki ji,
Janki,
only when we reach original self, we attain purity.
Very good. Only when we reach original self, you attain purity. Excellent. And second point?
Purity is the absence of any other thing.
Till we are not pure, we are agitated.
Yeah. Why should we be pure? That is the second point.
Okay, very good. So why should we be pure?
If we are not pure, that leads to agitation.
Very good. Then we started taking up various examples of agitation. Right? So many people are suffering in so many ways, people are over leveraged in their business, they've taken loans, their COVID struck, their whole business has collapsed. Thousands and thousands of things people have suffered, right? Now I was telling you the story of this person who has a malignancy. They have removed all this after 8 hours of surgery. Now he says, I don't want to live. Just think about it, right? Just think about what that person must be going through. Imagine, when we get one white hair, we say, oh my God, I got one white hair. We get one pimple and they say, oh my God, I got one pimple. We grumble like that. Imagine this person has lost his teeth, his mouth. Does he want to really face the world like that? How terrible somebody might feel. And his whole face is obviously swollen because of all this thing. Can you not understand what pain he'll go through? And it seems almost callous to say, you not realize the self, you're not pure, and therefore you're going to suffer. Sounds terrible, no? Now, what we need to understand very carefully is, what does this mean? Let us say that a teenager gets a pimple on her face. And they get all worked up and all bothered, and they say, oh my God, I've got a pimple, I can't go to college, something. They get all worked up and bothered. Now, as adults, we say how silly these kids are, But for that child, it's torturous. It's really torturous. Now we stop for a moment and think, what is torturing you because there's a pimple on your face? Is that pimple giving you any kind of physical pain? No, it's not giving you any physical pain. Then why does that pimple on your face bother you? What's the reason?
Desire to look good.
What will people say?
Desire for acceptance.
Acceptance, looking good, all of this. This is what I feel. Now, why do I want to look good? Why do I want people to like me? Why is that?
Because I feel incomplete without that.
Because?
I feel incomplete without that.
Yeah, correct. That's true. But what is the reason that I need people to like me, that I need to look beautiful for people, so that my opinion of myself improves? So what is the critical thing here? I think about what you think of me.
Yes.
If you read, Ashia, what you have written, my view of myself. So what's the critical thing here?
Me.
And what is it about me? Why am I so important? Because
Ego.
me
Ego.
being important is ego. But why am I so important? Because now I see me as different from you. And as long as I have this feeling, I will bear the slings and sorrows of outrageous fortune, as Hamlet said. Or should we bear the slings and arrows of outrageous fortune, or take arms against a sea of trouble? Are you going to take arms against a sea of troubles, or are you going to bear the slings and arrows of outrageous fortune? We feel so outraged by the bad fortune we meet. And we believe that bad fortune is the cause of our agitation. Who will tell us it is not? It is the absence of oneness which is the cause of our agitation. It sounds like almost, like what? Like, imagine you go and tell the girl with the pimple on her face that, you don't know you're the self, that's why you're suffering for this. She'll think you're mad for talking. You go and tell this person who just had this horrible malignancy that this mutilation is not the cause of your agitation. It sounds almost cruel to say this to him. Imagine in his sorrow. Yet the truth exists. Now the thing is, I hope you can see it at least when it comes to other people. And that's how we become very callous in life. When it's somebody else's problem, it's very easy for us to say, you're suffering because you're not the self. But when the problem comes to us, then we don't accept that. This is called abuse of religion. When it's another person's problem, you feel it as your own because you see the oneness. But when it is your own problem, you don't see it like that. That is real objective. I hope you're able to tell the difference, because otherwise, they say, oh, Vedanta is very callous. And why do people say Vedanta is very callous? Because the students go and tell everybody, oh, you're impure, so you're suffering. That's not how we deal with this. We deal with other people's suffering by identifying with them. And we deal with our suffering by not identifying with it. So what is it that we're really supposed to do? First, to inquire into yourself. That is what. Start understanding what is really you. What is this you that you are protecting? Who is that you? What is that you? Start understanding what is it. Taking so much for granted about yourself. Inquire, inquire, inquire. Monisha, the pimple is just something that didn't exist earlier in time. If it stayed long enough, we would accept it. A reaction to change visually unpleasant could cause agitation. Monisha, I think you're not married. Is that correct? Because, married couples.
I've been married 27 years, Janki ji. I have a 26-year-old son. Yes.
26. First, you don't look 26 yourself. But
Oh no,
if you
I'm
claim
52.
that-
This is just a good trick photography done by my child. But
All right. So, Monisha, you are saying in time, if it stayed long enough, we would accept it. Have you seen daughters-in-law living with their mothers-in-law for 26 years and not accepting them? Have you seen husbands and wives living with each other for 30 years and not accepting each other?
I have.
Have you seen elderly couples, like in their 80s and 90s, grumbling about each other?
True.
So where is the question that if it stays long enough, we accept it? We don't. If we did, then we wouldn't need philosophy. Just stay with it long enough and you accept it. Life would be quite simple. But it doesn't work like that. So, what is the cause of the agitation is not the duration of it being there. It is our very, very strong identification with only ourselves. The stronger my wrong understanding about myself, the stronger the pain I feel in this world. Now you say, what do I do with the pain? What do you do with the pain is a different question. Okay, so don't let's go there. If it's really horrible pain, you may need to take help from a mental professional. But we're not going there. What is critical, at least as far as philosophy is concerned, is that we learn to identify the right cause. Suppose you have a terrible backache. The doctor will first and foremost give you what?
Painkiller.
A painkiller. So there are many painkillers for our pain, whether physical or mental. And we need to use them sometimes because the pain is really horrible. But after taking the painkiller, after feeling better, we should not forget that we have not dealt with the cause. And if you haven't dealt with the cause, it will come right back. So this is not to be callous, about other people's pain or even our own pain. You're not supposed to just reject your pain and say, oh, what's it? No, it is hurting. Please take note. It's just like if your back is hurting, you have to take note, right? Your back is hurting because something's wrong. Otherwise, your back shouldn't be hurting. So please take note. Similarly, if your mind is hurting, something's wrong. Please take note. Please deal with this situation instead of saying that, no, nothing's the matter. 9 out of 10 times, people will hide from the pain and say, oh, nothing's the matter. It's all okay. No, it's not okay. It's like the pain is like something flashing on your dashboard. You know, some red light is flashing. You shouldn't ignore it. You should see what happened. Why is it flashing like that? And this is where inquiry comes. Your own inquiry into your own self. Monica, since you're new, let me see anyone else's name. Deepak Kutte, are you also new?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Welcome to the class, Deepak. I hope you're
Thank you.
okay with what you've heard
Yes,
so
yes,
far.
yes, yes, yes,
Okay.
madam.
So, and Rudran. Rudran, you're also new? Yeah, the names all sound. So if you're new, please understand this carefully, because not understanding philosophy is okay. Misunderstanding philosophy is a complete mess. So please understand carefully. We are not saying that, oh, you're in pain, you're such a horrible person. I'm not saying that. What we are saying is, oh, you're in pain. Please take note of this pain. Please find out what is the cause, what is the real cause of this pain. And let's work together to remove this pain from all of us for all times. That's what we're doing. Yeah. Hariom Rupma. Yes, go ahead. You have a question?
Yes, ma'am. You told us that we should self-analyze.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, when we are in teenager or something like this, the students are going to the suicidal attacks and everything like this in their life. They might be agitated about the environment and anything. At that time, when we go to the parents asking this, or the parents are also not able to help us to recognize what's the problem is. ऐसा होता है बोल के छोड़ के and we continue. Then how will we come to know to whom we have to go for all these things, analysis and realizing everything?
It's very, very sad. Yeah, that's Rupma. That is a problem. Where does the person go? Like, whom does he go and approach? He or she, like, where? I mean, it's not even like a known thing in this world. You know, if you have a back problem, then you know you should maybe go see an orthopedic. If you have a toothache, then you maybe go see a dentist. Where do you go? It is a big problem. There is no doubt about that. That's why we're trying to solve the problem by starting Vedanta University. But it's such a big and ambitious plan that it seems very tough, very far away, and it's very difficult to explain to anybody what is the need. There is no subject. And psychology, which is a subject which is meant to do that, usually is more curative. It's like you are now in pain and now it's become really bad and neither you nor your family nor your friends nor anybody can handle this. So you go to such a person. But why should anyone reach that position in the first place? So now psychology is trying a little bit with like what they call, what is this new thing they call it? Something happiness, positive psychology, where they are trying to, not until you've come to an ailment point, but well before that. But yes, you're right. The only solution that one has thought of is such a grandiose and ambitious solution that I don't even know when it's ever going to come about. But anyway, we'll work for it. We're doing that, right? Rupma, we're trying this.
Because the time when my son admitted in the school, I first time knew that the counselors are there for the kids only, for KG1, KG2 students also. Everyone is doing with that thing also.
Yeah, they are. But it is these people come into action only after, a lot has happened, unfortunately. Nobody catches the ball.
The parents come and they beg them, please give us the kid back again at that young age only. Because they don't want to change themselves. What you told in a previous lecture, that the thoughts you are not absorbing. You know everything, but you're not absorbing the thoughts, everything. And it's easy to say, yes, you have to do this and you do it like this. How to do? It's really difficult to figure it out.
Yes, yes, we have to be trained in that. We are trained in reading, we're trained in writing, we're trained in arithmetic. We're not trained in right living. So we make all the mistakes. What else will happen? It's to be expected. So I don't have any answer for you, Rupma, sorry. Whenever we approach pain, we are told karma is following and we are facing karma. How true is this? Monica, this is entirely true, except it is entirely wrong. The statement is true, but what people understand from the statement is false. Karma
Because
means-
whenever I've spoken or asked, I'm always told that, karma is following. So I want to know, is that really true that everything that happens now is because what we did in our back lives, or like, how
Yes.
true is it? Yeah.
Yes, that's correct. But what you're saying is wrong.
Okay.
In the sense that it is correct. Karma means action. Action comes from something known as vasanas. Vasanas are your unmanifest desires. So let's say your actions come from your desires.
Yeah.
Okay, so where did these desires come from? They came from previous actions. Because you did some things in the past in a particular way, you created some desires. Okay, now that you've created these desires, you will act according to those desires. So you form for yourself a certain loop. So you keep on repeating the mistakes over and over and over again until education picks you out of that mistake. Once you educate yourself and you say, oh, so that's what I was doing wrong, and then you correct it, and then you're out of that loop. So now you have another desire and therefore another action. Okay, so now you spiral. If you keep on educating yourself, you spiral up and reach enlightenment. If you refuse to educate yourself, you loop in the same thing and repeat that same thing over and over and over and over and over and over again until you learn. So they put it in the past by saying, all your past actions are giving you this fruit. Okay? So it doesn't mean, oh, I did something horrible, I murdered somebody, and so now somebody will murder me. I mean, you don't have to look at it in that kind of rather superstitious manner.
All right.
Yeah? Okay, so when we do not identify with the self, when we repeat thoughts of separation, that you are different from me, that your welfare has got nothing to do with me. I am supposed to do well. You do well, don't do well, it's your problem, not my problem. When we have a very, very strong sense of individuality. Satish, when you have a very strong sense of individuality, you withdraw yourself from the whole. You don't see oneness with everybody. And the more and more we segregate ourselves, the more and more agitation we face. Why do we face this agitation? Because when I cannot identify with another person, I don't feel one with the other person. I see the other person as a conduit for fulfilling my desires. And people don't, because they are living their life. When I identify with them, I understand what they want, what they are looking for, things like that. When I don't identify with them, I only see what I want. So I go around saying what I want. People are not listening to me, so I get upset. Very quite simple, really. Isn't it? When I say people are not doing, are not doing, nature is not doing, my health is not doing, my body is not doing, things are not doing what I want them to do. That's what I'm agitated about. Now, why do I want all these people to do these things? Because I don't have any identification, any understanding of what's going on. If I see myself as one with the whole, I understand the whole. I understand. What is this world? What is this nature? It is a changing phenomenon. Am I expecting stability out of it? All of us, the whole world, all 8 billion people, however many there are now, because the number keeps changing frequently. All these 8 went through a terrible condition. They were all doing reasonably well. Whatever their life was, it was. And then COVID struck and everybody went berserk. Now, what did we learn out of that? Did we learn that change is inherent? Or did we learn that, I don't know what, that, oh, you know, this country is so bad, they did this, that person is so horrible, he did that. What did we learn? If you learned, and you learned forever, that change is permanent, change is unpredictable, you will not have a problem with it again. But if you did not learn it, then when it changes again, you bring on the same problems again. So when you are able to identify, you are able to understand. Love creates understanding, like how a mother understands. No? Mother, the baby is crying. And we look at the baby and we say, do you want a chocolate? Do you want this? Do you want that? No, what is this baby crying for? Then the mother will come and say, oh, she is crying because she's wet, or because a mosquito is biting her or something. How does she know? Identification. Love creates understanding. So when we don't have that identification, we don't have that oneness. We've segregated ourselves. We say, no, I'm different. You're different. I'm different. Then I don't understand you. I try to use you as a method of fulfilling my desires. That doesn't work. And then I get agitated. How will you ever find this out? Through self-inquiry. See what is going on in your life. Okay, clear up to this point? Any questions up to this point? Okay, then let's go further. Of course, you can take the help of scriptures. You can take the help of other people, more intelligent people, to come to a conclusion on how you should inquire or how you should look at this particular problem. But all these external supports are only as good as the effort you yourself are willing to put in. Nothing will work until you do. Yeah, Rupma.
How to help our own husband to start analyzing himself, what he's doing and what he's not doing, and he's getting agitated because of office work and little bit some incident which has no base.
What to do? Get up in the morning, Rupma, and do your own studies. The Bhagavad Gita says, let us not agitate the minds of the ignorant, but render our own actions so attractive that they learn without us teaching.
If they don't see that thing, how to do?
Keep living your life. Make your life attractive. Let him come to you and say, hey, Rupma, you're always looking quite happy. How do you manage?
But that is also cause of agitation. How you're so happy?
Then don't express happiness in his presence in that case. But remember, in the Gita, Arjuna spoke for 1 chapter and 10 verses. And the Lord said nothing. I think he taught a lot without saying anything. I mean, he brought Arjuna to the point where Arjuna asked the question. Knowledge cannot be given, it's always taken. Okay, so shall we continue? We'll go to the next para. Who will read?
I will.
Go ahead.
The religious books and discourses on their own cannot bring about spiritual development in you. The knowledge contained in the scripture can make you a well-informed person. But for spiritual transformation, you need to put in considerable effort in reflection and contemplation upon the knowledge received. Lectures from masters will be of no avail unless you are prepared to lecture to yourself. Lord Krishna pronounces this truth and his oft quoted words, you must raise yourself by yourself. So the knowledge gained from the scriptures or debates will make us a well-informed person, but our transformation will only happen when we reflect and contemplate on the knowledge gained. We must be ready to direct ourselves to make the transformation. As Krishna said, you must raise yourself by yourself.
Correct. So nobody can help you unless you help yourself. Moral of the story. Okay, you go from teacher to teacher, from book to book, from experience to experience, from solving one problem to solving another problem. But unless you help yourself to this knowledge, all we do is repeat the loop. All we do is say, okay, now this is my problem. Now I have to solve this problem. And then you spend all your time, energy, and happiness in solving that problem. Then that problem is solved according to you. And you say, now I can rest. Then what happens? Another problem comes. And again, the whole thing is done. And not solve anything from a root unless you understand what is going on. Just foolishly chasing one superficial solution after another superficial solution. But if you find the real cause, which seems like too big, it sounds too big a bite, right? If I'm suffering financial problems, will I say I'm suffering because I'm not the self? Should I not get my money? You'll be an idiot if you don't get your money. Of course you should get your money. Then what is it to do with being the self? Please try and see Krishna's life. Krishna did everything that he was supposed to do. He got involved in a war that he has got nothing to do with. But he thought righteousness has to be re-established. So he did it. What amount of stress he took onto himself. Imagine getting involved in that stupid Mahabharata war. Na lena, na dena. But still he got involved. Like you tell him na, wouldn't his wife tell him कि क्यों भाई आप क्यों जा रहे हैं वहां पे? Whoever wins, आपको क्या मिलने वाला है? कुछ तो मिलने वाला नहीं है तो जाओ क्यों रहे हो? Like nothing to do with that war, one way or the other. He gets involved. Takes on all the stress of a massive war, like the whole country is ruined, that much, that big. And while he does it, no stress, no agitation, no nothing. Can we do that? Can we work in such a way that no matter what work we do, no matter how much we do, we still maintain complete bliss within? Can we do that? Most of us can't. Then what is it that Krishna has that we don't have? How come he does it and we can't? What is it he has?
Knowledge of the self.
Huh?
Knowledge of the self.
Yeah, he knows he is the self. He knows he is divine. We don't know this. That's the only difference. Literally the only difference between him and us. It's nothing, and yet it's everything. So, unless you're able to elevate yourself to a higher comprehension, to a higher understanding, as you're able to get closer and closer to the self, the agitations just disappear. Like the snows of yesteryear, like where did those agitations go? You don't know. You don't even know you're not agitated. And then one day you think, oh my God, I used to be so upset about that. No, now what happened to that? No, I didn't feel anything. It's not that you feel it and you suppress it. As you grow, you come to a point where that thing is really, you didn't know it was gone like that until sometime somebody else may point it out to you. But this wonderful result comes only with our own hard work. And what is the hard work we must do?
Get up in the morning and study.
Very good. That is why we had a retreat. To treat people, please get up and study. But the big point of the retreat is not that at the retreat you get up and study. The big point of the retreat is you get into the habit of it. So now we'll do a 1 month course and see if we can get people into the habit of it. Get into the habit of it. And then, people who do it, like they start afresh, new. One of the most common things you hear when people get up early, let's say a person hasn't been getting up early and then they did get up early. You know what is the most common thing that they come back and tell you? Most common one, I'll tell you. Suddenly, there's lots of time. Because you really feel by the time other people have woken up, how much you've already finished. You feel, and then people will come and waste your time in the course of the day. It doesn't matter. Because you've already finished your stuff. Nobody telling you anything stresses you out. It's an amazing thing. Otherwise, imagine you yourself got up late and somebody gives you some long, elaborate story which you're not interested in. You get all worked up, but I don't have time for all this now, And imagine you're all the time in the world to listen patiently. Now, there was one very funny man. He used to be Swamiji's host in a particular place. It's very funny. And he had this amazing ability to keep talking and to keep talking nonsense, like literally nonsense. And I used to see that he would come and he would, Swamiji would be reading his newspaper or something in the morning, and then in the morning, 11ish. And then he'd come and sit with him and start talking to him. And he'd talk like, how Swamiji is, right? He doesn't suffer fools very much. But this man would come, he'd talk to him, he'd talk all the nonsense of the world. And Swamiji would be utterly amused and listen to this conversation and be having a good time. That man is talking rubbish. I used to watch this and I used to think, like, he's got so much work going on. And yet he's willing to spend time talking to this one. Actually, for him, it's relaxation. He doesn't have to listen. He doesn't have to, it's fun for him to listen to this man talking nonsense. But imagine if it's 11 o'clock but you got up at 9 o'clock, you've rushed somehow to your desk by 10:30, and at 11 someone comes and talks nonsense to you. You will be stressed. You will be like, oh my God, you're wasting my time. So, when we start putting in the effort that is required, now that effort that is required has to be disciplined. Not like, okay, I'll reflect whenever I want. No. You have a set time every day. Whatever time you want to set, you please set. But it's a set time. If you set this time early morning, you get the max benefit of it. So it's most useful to do it then. Because everything has a time, right? When you do it in that time, like suppose you plant a seed. You can't plant a seed anytime in the year. There is a time for planting that seed. So similarly, there's a time for reflection. That time is early morning when your intellect is fresh. You get up at that time and you start thinking about this thing. Like really thinking about it. You're not memorizing what you're being told. You're not agreeing with what you're being told. You're not following anybody. You're just thinking about these things with a fresh mind. And then suddenly the penny drops and you get it. Something, some idea. It's very funny when people get it. They come to you and they tell you something like, oh my God, I just realized desires cause agitation. Like, something you've been hearing and hearing and hearing a million times. Oh, just got that. And they're so excited. Like, and they're like Einstein, like, Eureka, Eureka, they just want to shout out. What, you've been hearing all along. But that is the difference at this point. Got it once and for all. You're able to fix the right cause and the right effect. It's not that when you fix the right cause and the right effect, everything's going to change in your life. It's not like that. But you start working in the right direction. And that's important. That's critical. Otherwise, all our hard work is in the wrong direction in the first place. A lot of hard work, but in the wrong direction. So the Gita says, this is one path. You know how he describes it? He says he calls it Buddhi Yoga, which is why we use the term Buddhi Yoga. He says Buddhi Yoga is one path where there is no loss of effort. Isn't that a very interesting construction? There's no loss of effort. In the rest of our life, we put in effort into things, and that effort is actually lost. Isn't it? For a cap and bells, our lives we pay. For a cap and bells, our lives we pay. Bubbles we earn with a whole soul's yearning. Bubbles we earn with a whole soul's yearning. Imagine how much time, effort, energy we put into so many things. And all those things are gone. Just think that in what is that company? Kodak was a camera company, right?
Right.
So that Kodak was the top of the pop, right? And then what happened? How much time, effort, energy into making this massive corporation, and then what? Life changed. Now everybody has a camera in their mobile phone. Who wants that? And like that, our life is so much effort and so many things. Gone. What can you do? You put up a business, the business is gone. You put so much into a relationship, the relationship is gone. So much just vanishes. Ajay, what's the difference between Buddhi Yoga and Jnana Yoga? Oh, Buddhi Yoga, Ajay, is there is actually no such thing. It was just concocted for the Bhagavad Gita. Buddhi Yoga, when he uses it in chapter 2 and then in some subsequent chapters also, Krishna is referring to actually Karma Yoga, which means intellect-led actions. Actions which are backed by the intellect. So if we had to put it in the normal terminology, it would be not Jnana Yoga, but Karma Yoga. In the right sense. Nowadays, Karma Yoga has come to mean like social work. But in the way he has used it, it is intellect-directed action. That's why we use this as our motto, Buddhi Yoga Vimuktaye. Buddhi Yoga means intellect-driven actions, Vimuktaye, for the purpose of liberation. Get liberated, get freed from everything when your actions are intellect. Okay, Ajay?
Got it. Thank you.
Okay, so we are clear on this first topic, which says inquiry into yourself. So you already heard, you heard from the master, you heard from the teachers, you heard from the text, and they told us that They told us, they analyzed the personality and all that for us. Now it's our chance to take that help and inquire into ourselves, to look really at our own agitation and see what is causing that, what is really causing. One thing is very easy, right? I'm very unhappy because my husband is not working. Okay, it can be very, very disturbing for a lady if her husband has no occupation. So I'm very disturbed because my husband doesn't have a job, let's say. Now this is a very superficial analysis. And it is this kind of analysis which is the cause of our problems. Because now when I analyze it and say, I am very unhappy because my husband doesn't have a job, all my effort, all my energy is directed towards
How?
Improving him.
Yes.
trying to get him a job, improving him, either telling him, you get a job, you get a job, get a job, or trying yourself to get him a job. All your time, effort, energy will go in that. Because you genuinely think that because he doesn't have a job, I'm agitated. Okay, then somehow you do whatever you have to do and he gets the job. And he does well at that job. Then you will have another problem. Like Rupma told us, everything in that job is agitating him. So you are getting agitated with that job unnecessarily. Now you have a second problem that he's getting agitated with things. When will this ever end? And every time we will locate the problem outside, every time we will cure it outside, and every time we will reach the same story of agitation in our mind over and over and over and over again. We were agitated that we didn't pass, that our 10th standard exams were coming. We were agitated that we had to get admission to college. We were agitated that we have to do well, we have to get a job, we have to get a career, we have to get a spouse, we have to get children, to get the children into school. Every step of the way, agitated. And then you come to Vedanta. Then what happens? Then you're agitated. Oh my God, there's an exam, there's an exam, there's an exam. How many people told me, can you excuse us from the exam? The exam agitates now. But by the way, I must tell you that of the people who did take the exam, most of them got almost everything correct. That was amazing. That was wonderful. In the MCQ, it was like 20 marks of MCQ, and most people have got, I mean, a large majority have got like 18 or 20. That means one question wrong or all of them correct, which is great. So we did pretty well. And anyway, the point I was making was that if you locate the problem outside, you cure it outside. And all you meet as a consequence of that is
Agitation.
okay, how?
Because we locate the cause of the agitation outside.
You meet another problem.
Yes.
That's all that happens. You solve one problem, you meet another one. Now, when you locate the problem inside, what happens? You solve the problem outside. That is common in both cases. You solve the problem outside. And then the next time a problem comes,
It will not agitate you.
you're not agitated. And each time a problem comes, you find your agitations are lower and lower. You're not getting agitated. What are you getting agitated about? If you didn't have a problem, just imagine what your life would be. It'd be boring as hell. The only reason you're enjoying your life is because you have a problem. So very nice problems come, good fun. Oh, nice, a nice, interesting problem has come. Yay, let's do something. The fun. Others, oh my God, oh my God, oh my God. Oh my fur, oh my whiskers. चलो यार, grow up. ये तो होता ही है ना जिंदगी में, कुछ ना कुछ तो होगा ही. हर बार getting tension out of it. How will you solve the problem internally?
Study and reflect.
Improving yourself.
Inquiry into yourself. Get up in the morning every day and find out what is the real problem. Why should anything bother me? What is the real problem? And once you're able to clinch that, you're good. Then men may come and men may go, but I go on forever, said the book. Okay, clear? Shall we start? Now, when you look inside, when you do self-inquiry, what will you see? We start the next topic.
May I?
Yeah, please.
Yourself is supreme reality. The problem facing humanity today is that none wants to look within oneself. People are enchanted by the fascinations of the external world. They do not find the need to go introvert. Vedanta cautions them that there is no peace and happiness in the sense objects or beings or anything that the world can offer. They claim that their personal experience belies this statement and dismiss the caution as baseless. So the problem today is that we are so enchanted with what we see outside that we genuinely believe that that is what is giving us happiness. So even though Vedanta is cautioning us that this is not true, we don't believe them because we feel our experience is directing us towards the right thing.
Yes, very good. Excellent. Correct. So as Reshma has very nicely said, the problem is that nobody's going to do self-inquiry. Nobody wants to look within. And though Vedanta is saying that the solution to your problem is within, they're not interested in this. And why are they not interested in this? It's very, very simple. Why would you tell somebody, come to Vedanta class, it will keep you happy forever? They will say, no. Why do I need Vedanta to keep me happy? I am happy as it is. अगर कुछ हो भी गया, तो I'll take one glass. तब ठीक हो जाएगा उसके बाद. So everybody believes from the bottom of their heart, when something I get, I am going to be happy. And why do they believe this? Because that has been their experience. Suppose you were feeling very unhappy, very miserable, and your friend told you, chalo, chalo, let us go to the mall and we'll buy something, we'll eat something, and then you'll feel fine. And then you said, okay, fine. And you went with him. And you went to the mall, you guys bought something, you ate something, you felt good and came home. That is the experience. Now somebody is telling you, no, there is no joy there. How can you believe it? Because your experience tells you so. You experienced it, you've seen it. Are you going to believe your experience or are you going to believe somebody telling you something? So nobody believes. So what they do is, because that original mall experience gave them joy, they go back to the same mall over and over again. They lose the joy of that particular mall, that particular food, those particular shops there. So now what will they do?
New experience.
Another mall.
Another mall. And they'll go from mall to mall, exhausting all the malls in the world, seeking again that happiness which they think they are going to get. This is the tragedy of human. And why is it there? Because that was your original experience. You didn't experience the joy in the beginning. So now you're sold on. And no matter how what Vedanta says, nobody's going to be
Thank you, Ji. But the After the original experience, all the subsequent experiences proved the disappointment, but yet the search continues. How is that?
Hope. Hope say, what do they say? Dunya kayam hai. You feel you've already got it once, and you feel you're going to get it again. That's the killer, no? That's why desires are such a killer. You believe your desires, you don't believe knowledge.
Thank you.
Okay, so that is it for today.